Hey everyone, my name is Leif and today we're gonna do some tone matching. We're gonna take 5 pretty iconic metal tones and rock tones and try to recreate them. I'm gonna explain what to listen to when you try to recreate your own versions of these tones. For this, I'm gonna use the Neural DSP Archetype Plini. Many people say that it's not that versatile and that it can't do like brutal high gain metal tones, but I completely disagree. If you know what you're doing, you can really pretty much make any tones out of this plugin. It's super good. The tones I'm gonna recreate are thrash metal tones, modern driven clean tones, American metal tones, classic rock, classic metal tones like Iron Maiden, and modern metal tones like in the style of Periphery and such. What you should try to listen to when you create your own versions is the tone in 3 parts. How the high end sounds like, how the mids sound like, and how the low end sounds like. By listening to these 3 parts, you can pretty much get into the ballpark of how the tones are built. At least that works for me when I try to make a tone for a project or something. So let's start with the thrash metal tone. Thrash metal tones are pretty notorious for their insanely scooped sound, and they're also very bassy. I've heard it be called like chainsaw tones. So if you imagine like how a chainsaw sounds like, it's pretty much like that. It's a very cool sound for like fast and aggressive metal. So let's try to recreate that tone. So here is the default tone with no reverb or anything on, and none of the pedals are engaged. So here it is. And by the way, for this I'm gonna use my Strandberg Classic Bowden. It should be pretty cool to hear how all these tones sounds like in this one, since it's a very, like it said, it's classic. It's got much more of a warm sound, and it's got 2 single coils, so it's HSS pickup. It's awesome for pretty much everything I do, so it's gonna be nice to hear how these sound in different contexts, in different genres. So here we go with the thrash metal. Okay, first of all, let's switch to the insane. It's okay, let's turn the bright knob on, and scooped sound, so the mids are pretty much non-existent. Bass, we're gonna keep it there for now. It's pretty bassy. We're getting there. Let's try the overdrive on like these settings. These are pretty standard overdrive settings. No drive, full level. Let's see how that sounds. It's also gonna clean up the low end a bit to make it not so flubby. It's getting there. I'm gonna use the EQ. I hate the 16K and I want to turn down the 8K a bit. That gets rid of a lot of the digital fuzz and fizz that's in all of the like digital amp world. So let's see. Sounds much more natural now. Let's make a smiley shaped curve here with the EQ. Gotta get rid of some 250 and 500. I want to keep the 125 since it's the chugs in the palm mutes is gonna sound very huge. Let's take down a bit of 1K too. And right about there, I'm pretty happy with the sound. Turn the gate up a bit. I think this is a pretty passable thrash metal sound. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, so there we go. That's the thrash metal sound. Now, let's jump to the modern driven clean tones. Now, it could be difficult, it could be not so difficult, it depends. We're gonna use the clean amp, and for this I'm gonna use the neck position single coil. From what I've learned from these tones is that it's a very compressed, like extremely compressed, so let's drive that compression full. Let's see how that sounds. It should be pretty spanky. Yeah, that's nice. That's super nice. Bright knob on, I guess. Mids, you could turn the mids down a bit, and the bass, treble and presence up a bit to get that very sparkly, shimmering high end. Again, don't want these. Gonna turn that one a bit down. Let's see. Sounds super nice. I'm gonna actually add a drive pedal to this and see if that... That sounds super nice. Let's drive it a bit. I think that sounds super nice, and with the reverb, everything is on the default settings here on the reverb, full space, like middle time, dry wet in the middle. I put the low pass, the low cut on, and the high cut, since I don't want the reverb to be down there in the low end. That makes it super washy and weird. So same with the high end, it doesn't sound that good. If the high end is there too, the dry tone loses a lot of its presence here if you have that full. So that's what I did there. Everything is just cut that one, cut this one, like I said about the digital stuff, and cut down on the 65 Hertz just because we don't need that bottom end. Everything is pretty much in the middle here, like presence up a bit, treble up a bit, tiny bit, and mid down a bit, and bass down a bit. Gain is in the middle, and the bright knob is just switched up. Overdrive, a slightly more driven, usual dry sound, compressed the crap out of it. So here it is. Yeah, that's the modern driven clean tone. Now let's move on to the American metal tone like this. That what you pretty much hear in like Five Finger Death Punch or Disturbed or that type of bands. So we're gonna start. I think we're gonna go for the high gain metal here. Gate up a bit. Bright knob, of course, on. Gain, we could probably put it there. I'm gonna turn down the bass a bit, the mids. I'm gonna see where the treble, put it up, I guess, a bit. Do the usual here and turn down 250 Hertz a bit because that's like too much flub down there. So let's see how this sounds already. Oh, by the way, if I play like shit, that's because I have to record this with like a weird ASIO driver because OBS won't capture the sounds from my regular interface. So I have to kind of run it through this, and it creates this huge latency, and it's so annoying. But it's more about the sound and not my playing in this one, so I don't care. But yeah, let's see. I think it sounds pretty good, actually. I don't want any of these because they have kind of a not so controlled bottom end. I'm gonna boost the gain up a bit, I think, and I'm gonna turn some of that down and some of the 1K down, I think. Jeez, I play like shit. Yeah, so that's the American metal tone. You don't have to do much. It's pretty much, it's a lot of gain, I guess, and it's not so controlled and perfect as the modern tones are, which leads me to the next tone, I guess. The modern metal tones. Now, this is where right up my alley. This is what I usually use. I played in a band called Scent of Surface. We play like modern metal, prog influenced metal. The thing that really gets me about this tone is like it's super defined. Like all the notes are so easy to hear. I think it's pretty brutal. It's like it's not so surgical. The distortion is not so surgical like the American metal tones or thrash metal tones. It's more broken, and it's so heavy and it's nice. You can hear a lot of mids in it. So I have made a patch. It says drop F sharp because I play that with my 7th string, but it sounds nice on 6th string too. I'm in D standard. I usually play in drop C, but I do my own songs. I do in D standard, so that's why I picked up one. So I'm gonna just show you how it sounds and how I came up with this sound. Yeah, so what I've got going on here is the crunch amp. Since I don't want that surgical distortion, so I want the crunch amp, crank the gain on it, bright switch of course up, bass down, mids I left it because I wanted to tweak it in the EQ here. The treble is up, the presence is up. Then we go in here, I'm driving it and putting the tone up a lot. That's because I have pretty dead strings on here. I haven't been able to change it. So the tone knob is up to compensate for the strings. If I have new strings here, I would pull the tone down. The EQ, again, down with the 16K, down with the 8K a bit, down with the 4K because the human ears are most sensitive to the frequencies around 4K. And I thought it was too harsh. I'm gonna show you how it sounded. I think that sounds absolutely disgusting. So I wanted to turn that down a bit. I wanted to tighten up the low end a bit more than just the overdrive. So I took down some 250 hertz and a tiny bit of 125 because I want the bass to kind of be prominent in the mix. The reverb, just for this one, I have a tiny bit of room reverb. So because I like to, when I mix, I like to put instruments in a place, in a physical room. The reverb helps me do that. So yeah, that's the modern metal tone. So here we are. Let's go to the next tone. It's the classic rock tone. Now, from here, there's not much to do, to be honest. Pull the gain down a bit. Pull the treble down a bit, I would say. The mids down a bit, and let's drive it a bit more here and a bit less here. And we already have a pretty damn nice classic rock tone. So all the exact same settings from the modern metal tones, geez, but I just turned the gain down a bit pretty much and control the EQs that were jumping out on me, like the mids. Turned that down a bit just here in the amp EQ. Left it here. So yeah, drove it a bit more since it's got kind of that surgical drive tone. So I wanted to use the drive instead of the gain here. So yeah, here it is. So there we have it, 5 metal tones from just Archetype Plini. Like I said in the beginning, I think this plugin is super versatile and it's so good if you know what you're doing, really. You can get pretty much whatever tone you want out of it. And the 3-step rule can be applied to your real amps too. It's a super quick and easy way to get into the ballpark for a tone that you want for your project or for your band maybe. It could take some time to build up the ear, to hear all the fine details and nuances of the dynamics and the quality of the gain and distortion, and to hear all these, like the fine details in each and every EQ band, if I say it like that. Just fiddle around with it, twist the knobs a bit, do the extremes, go from like none to full and try it in between so you hear what you're doing. Try all the different mic positions and such. Try different microphones, blend microphones. Like it's you have so much in your disposal to create a super good tone and a really personal tone. It's super easy to do. This plugin, it's pretty difficult to make it sound bad, to be honest. And you should also try to hear what you're doing in all of the 3 parts. So what that means is, like, if I boost the mids, how does that affect the treble and the bass? If I boost the mids, maybe you're gonna experience that, okay, the treble has gone down, you don't hear the treble as much, or the bass is too much now. So you have to fiddle around and listen to those 3 parts of the tone, each move you do. I hope this helped you and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'm gonna try to answer them as good as I can, really. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.